بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
والنجم إذا هوى ما ضل صاحبكم وما غوى.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، باب لا يشبع دون جاره. عن عبد الله بن الزبير رضي الله عنه قال: سمعت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول: ليس المؤمن الذي يشبع وجاره جائع. The chapter in this book of Imam Bukhari rahimahullah, Al-Adab al-Mufrad, is about a person should not eat to his fill without seeing that his neighbors have food also. And the hadith narrated on the authority of Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Zubayr radiyallahu anhu, who says, I heard Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam saying, لَيْسَ الْمُؤْمِنُ الَّذِي يَشْبَعُ وَجَارُهُ جَائِعٌ. A man is not a believer who eats to his fill while his neighbor is hungry. So a person who has enough food that he can eat until he's satisfied and he's full, and he doesn't care about what neighbors are going through. If there are people in the neighborhood who can't find food, who are not in a position of having any meal for whatever reason, and this person doesn't care about them, he only cares about having his own meal and his food, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, that person is not a believer. And we have to understand, لَيْسَ الْمُؤْمِنِ is not a believer doesn't mean that we can apply the fatwa of kufr on that person. This is to show that there are levels of iman. And some people are with weak iman, some people have a strong iman. Rasulullah is saying, not the type of iman that I'm teaching you, which means is not the level that I'm expecting from you. You are not that type of believer that I would like to see through my teachings. So it's talking about perfection of iman, strength of iman, completion of iman. And from this we also learn how important it is for every person to study the hadith in the light of other hadiths. Don't just take everything very literally as many people do. Don't take it based on only translation. We have to understand the hadith in the light of the other ayat of the Quran and the other hadiths of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We can't just take one hadith by itself on its own and apply the meaning in every situation. A person who's not familiar with other ahadith on that topic, with other ahadith that would talk about that type of topic and details of it, and then tries to go by translation or by the just literal meaning of the hadith, is misunderstanding the hadith, misrepresenting the meaning of the hadith. In most of the cases, this person would be misleading himself and others. So it's very important that whenever we see a hadith, we don't just take it literally as it sounds. We need to look at other hadiths and understand it in the light of this hadith. For example, one of the very recent situations that I ran into, a question that came about a hadith which is in Sunan Abi Dawood. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, لا يقبل الله صلاة حائض إلا بخمار. I'm sure many of us may have heard this hadith. Allah will not accept the prayer. Now, this is what it literally means. The prayer of a woman who's menstruating, except with a khimar, which means when she has a scarf on, when her hair and her head is covered. Now, for some people, when they looked at the translation, at the wording of the hadith, they took two meanings from this. One is, a woman who's menstruating can still pray as long as she covers her head. This is one wrong meaning. The other wrong meaning was, a woman who's not menstruating, she can pray even without covering her head. And here we can see how just literal meaning could take people away and mislead people when they don't understand the true meaning of the hadith. This is what Muhaddithin did when they wrote the books of Shuruh al-Hadith, the explanations of hadith. In fact, this is what Imam Bukhari himself did, rahimahullah, when he puts a heading to the chapter. These headings is the explanation of the hadith, where he's trying to explain the hadith through the title, through the heading that he's applying to the hadith, that this is what this hadith is referring to. And when people don't understand even the heading that is assigned by Imam Bukhari rahimahullah, then of course we have to go back and see what other muhaddithin have said about it, like Hafiz bin Hajar rahimahullah, Imam Aini rahimahullah, Imam Qastalani rahimahullah, and then later on the other muhaddithin. So we have to understand the hadith in the light of other hadith, the way muhaddithin understood the hadith in light of all the other ayat and hadith, so that no hadith will be contradicting other hadith, no hadith will be going against the meaning of other hadiths. They all are referring to the same thing if we put them together. And if we separate them from each other, then they would seem to be contradicting each other. Just like a person would give you a translation of the ayat of Quran, for Muslimin, woe to those who offer their prayers. And he says, I read it in Quran. I swear it's in Quran. Woe to those who offer their prayers. And he's just spreading that ayah, not continuing to the next ayah, الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. So he may feel that this is cursing those who are offering prayers, so no one should offer prayer. So we have to take it in the light of hadith. So this is a very, very important message that we see in this hadith, that لَيْسَ الْمُؤْمِن, that person is not a believer. Doesn't mean it's not, you apply a fatwa of kufr on that person and say he is not a believer. According to the hadith, that person is not a mu'min. No, this is referring to is not a perfect believer the way it's expected for a believer to be, and the way Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted us to be. Also, the hadith is showing us that when Allah bless someone with a special blessing that others are deprived of it, we should always share with others. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give blessings to some people in order for people to share it with others, not only for themselves. Most of us nowadays especially, we feel whatever blessing Allah has given me, it's only for me. This is why He gave it to me. If Allah wants, He could have given it to the other people. And if He didn't give it to them, it's not my problem. They have to deal with their own situation. They have to earn, they have to work, they have to get it themselves. And whatever I have is only mine. It's only for me. Isn't it the same thing that the kuffar used to say? And Allah narrates that in Quran, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ أَنْفِقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقَكُمُ اللَّهُ, Surah Yasin, that we are supposed to read every day. قَالَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَنُطْعِمُ مَنْ لَوْ يَشَاءُ اللَّهُ أَطْعَمَهُ. Kuffar used to say, when they were asked to give charity, give sadaqat to the needy, to the poor, So the kuffar used to say to the people of Iman, أَنُطْعِمُ مَنْ لَوْ يَشَاءُ اللَّهُ أَطْعَمَهُ. Should we feed those that if Allah wanted, He would have fed them. And if Allah didn't feed them, that means He doesn't want them to be fed. So we are not going to feed those people. No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He created human beings, the first title He gave, وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. Which means a person that would fulfill the responsibilities according to being the servant of Allah, representing what Allah wants from this human being. Allah is Razzaq, He wants us to give rizq to others. He gives rizq through each other. Allah is Rahim, He wants us to be Rahim to each other. Allah is Kareem, He wants us to be Kareem to each other. So this is one of those things that Allah wants us to be like that. Allah is Ghafoor, forgiving, He wants us to be forgiving to others. If a person will continue to be Ghafoor and forgiving to others, Allah will continue to be Ghafoor for him. And if this person will not be forgiving others, Allah will close the doors of forgiveness for this person also. If this person is Rahim to others, Allah will continue being Rahim to him. And if this person will close the doors of Rahmah on others, Allah will close the doors of Rahmah on him too. If this person, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Razzaq, and Allah is giving this person so that he can others, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has some of His very special people that Allah gives them rizq for the sake of others. And through Him, Allah will feed and will take care of the needs of others. So as long as we are giving, Allah will continue giving us. And when we don't give, Allah will stop that ni'mah from us also. And we may think, no. We have seen a lot of people, they don't share nothing. They keep it to themselves. They're only using it for themselves. Sit with them. Spend a day with those people. Spend a day with that person who is not sharing anything with others. See how is that person spending his life. How much benefit does he have from these blessings, and how much these blessings are just going against him. And he's suffering because of the same blessings. There are people, their worry is only to start a new factory, start another store. This person has 5 stores. He wants a 6th one. After a 6th one, he wants a 7th one. A person who started a factory, he has now 5 factories. Now he owns 2 or 3 malls. He owns 15, 20 homes. There's still constant worry about studying 2 more and 2 more. وَلَنْ يَمْلَأَ فَاهُ إِلَّا التُّرَابُ. Nothing is going to satisfy this person except the dust when it will be filled in his mouth, when he will be covered under dust in his grave. What is he doing with all of these things that he has? Nothing. He's getting nothing out of it. When you don't have peace of mind, you can own the whole dunya, you can own the whole world, you get nothing. You need peace of mind. Buy your peace of mind. Ni'mah is the thing that will give you the peace of mind. And thing that will take away your peace of mind, regardless of numbers. And this is what people look at nowadays. Numbers. These many stores. These many shopping centers. These many factories. These many people work under him. This is how much he has. Does he have peace of mind? If he doesn't have peace of mind, all of these things are not a blessing. They are just means of destruction. Destroying him, destroying his life, destroying his family, giving him nothing. The destruction, the real destruction and the worst destruction will be after the person will leave. What benefit did he get? Just like Fariduddin al-Attar rahimahullah. When he went to the store of the perfume seller, and he keeps on looking around. Thousands of bottles of perfume. Thousands of bottles of perfume. He's looking around, looking around. And the person comes to him and says, "Can I help you with something?" "No, I'm just looking around." After some time, he comes back. "I think you need some help. You're just looking and you're not touching anything. You're not buying anything." He said, "Yeah, I'm just wondering about something." "What is that?" "I'm wondering on how would you die?" He said, "Why do you have to worry about my death? You know, normal businessman. Why do you have to worry about my death?" This an old man came to his store for Din al-Attar. So he said, why are you even thinking about it?" He said, "Because I see so many bottles of perfume here. It's thousands of them. When you die, you would be stuck to these bottles of perfume. Your heart will be stuck to all of these bottles. You'll be looking around and thinking about each and every bottle in the store. When your ruh will come out, it will be a very difficult death for you, because your ruh will not be only coming out of your body, has to come out of all of these bottles of perfume. This is how you're stuck with these bottles. Your life is connected to these bottles, which is a fact. When we are leaving, going somewhere, how many things we have to worry about? My store, my business, and who's going to make sure that, you know, there is still, the shelves are full and all the merchandise is there, and the depositing the money for every day. So many worries. Of course, is not to say don't do nothing, but when the person is only increasing the worry and he's not being in a position of getting any peace of mind through this, then of course, these are only increasing his worry, which is only a problem. Increasing the worries is only a problem. If these things are giving you your peace of mind, okay, after having few stores, you can start a third one, fourth one. Now a person can say, "Alhamdulillah, I can come to the masjid for every salah. I can come even before the adhan. Now I have the peace of mind. I can relax, do my ibadah. Every night I'm able to get up for tahajjud. I'm able to recite my juz of Quran every day. MashaAllah, you got your peace of mind. I have time to sit with my family. I have time to sit with my family and we do some dhikr of Allah. We so do some dua. We talk. We sit. We have, MashaAllah, peace of mind. But when these things are only taking us away from these things, from things that will bring peace of mind in our life, then, you know, we look at only some time back, our elders, they used to close their store at a certain time. Could be Maghrib, could be Isha. The store is closed. And after that, even if a person would go and offer $1 million that open the store, "I'll give you $1 million in," the store is closed, come to me. "I'm going to go and buy it from somewhere else." There are a lot of other stores. I'll tell you which store is open. I'll give you the direction myself, but I'm not opening my store for you. And I'm not talking about history. Of course, for sure, it was like this in the history. I'm talking things that I have seen with my own eyes. I'm telling you, things that I've seen with my own eyes. Just think about the difference of time now, of only some years. Within one generation, and we see such a big difference. So, having the peace of mind through the ni'mah of Allah is a great blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, we should appreciate the ni'mas, share them with others. Allah is not giving us everything just for ourselves. He gives us these ni'mas so that we can share them with others. And this is what a true believer, this is why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is expecting every believer to be a person who has the habit of sharing things with others. This hadith also tells us that part of our iman, for a person to be a true believer, for a person to have a perfect iman, is not just ibadah, akhlaq, and perfection of our manners, our behaviors, is part of the perfection of our iman. Many times we take this as two different. One is good behaviors and the other is my ibadah. Some people are very good in their ibadat. In fact, they're only good in ibadat. According to them, Islam is only ibadah. They took out the akhlaq part of our deen away from iman. Laysa al-mu'min is telling us part of our iman, akhlaq are part of our iman. As the hadith in Surah At-Tirmidhi with an authentic isnad, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, أَكْمَلُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ إِيمَانًا أَحْسَنُهُمْ خُلُقًا. The person with best of characteristics and best manners is the person who has the most perfect iman. SubhanAllah. A person with the best akhlaq is the person أَكْمَلُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ إِيمَانًا. Out of all the believers, this is the person whose iman is the most complete. This is a very unfortunate situation, especially in our time, when we have divided akhlaq and ibadat as two different categories, that for many people ibadat is part of our iman, and I will pray, I will do this dhikr, I will do that dhikr, and these type of all kind of schedules that we have, but a person can't even smile to no one. The person can't help no one. Doesn't care about what anyone goes through in life. In fact, if you can make it worse for the person by making him feel that because you don't do what I'm doing, this is what you're going through. This shows, this is a sign of no akhlaq. Being too far from akhlaq, which is part of our iman. We can't separate it. This is going to be seen in the hereafter. In this dunya, yes, mashallah, this person is always on his musalla, and he's always doing ibadah, and he's mashallah all the time in the masjid. But we have seen situations, the very same people, when his family would talk about him, when they come to you, and especially being in our position, people come for counseling. This is, they have to come. When families have to come and reveal the secrets of their homes, and you find out that this very nice brother was quiet, doesn't talk to no one, always in his ibadah. And mashallah, every time you see him in the masjid and dua and dhikr and Quran, and family is complaining about him for everything that he does at home. This is not the same hadith that I was talking about from Surah At-Tirmidhi. أَكْمَلُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ إِيمَانًا أَحْسَنُهُمْ خُلُقًا. And the hadith continues, وَخِيَارُكُمْ خِيَارُكُمْ لِنِسَائِهِمْ. The best out of you are those who are the best to your families, to your wives. We forget about all of that. In fact, generally our teaching is, don't worry about it. Don't worry about your family. You don't have to worry about anything. Keep on doing what you're doing. No. It's part of our responsibility. It's part of my deen. It's part of my iman. وَخِيَارُكُمْ خِيَارُكُمْ لِنِسَائِهِ. It's part of the hadith. It's part of the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we have to make sure we take care of this. And then, amazingly, one thing, and I'm going from one to another, but we have to understand these things in the light of these hadiths. One thing that I always see now is every person memorizes the hadith that will be only about his rights. So, a woman only knows the hadith. She will always talk about, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم خياركم خياركم لنسائه. This is the only hadith she would memorize. And the man will memorize the hadith that will talk about having an obedient wife. You have to be obedient. Children are memorizing the hadith where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam talks about teaching children adab and akhlaq and taking care of them and being fair to them. And parents are memorizing all their hadiths about rights of parents. And this is how it goes. Everyone is just looking towards his rights. If we start learning the hadith about our responsibilities, we will take care of all of these problems in our society. If we start looking at the hadiths that talk about our responsibilities. But generally, we don't want to look at responsibility. Yeah, people will come to you. You know, Sheikh, the hadith says that the leader should be like this. For sure. But go and ask the leader and the Amir and whoever is the leading person in your community. That person knows the hadith about how people should treat their leaders. And those are the only ones he knows. And he's always talking about people don't respect me, people don't listen to me, and people, subhanallah. So he's talking about his right and they're talking about their right, and there will be no mutual understanding. If they will look at what are our responsibilities towards him and he's looking at what is his responsibility towards them, and they go according to their responsibilities, this is how we will be able to follow these instructions and bring them into our lives. So don't look at your rights only, look at your responsibilities. And then once we have taken care of our responsibilities, for sure you can then very humbly request to get your rights being fulfilled also. That you know, I did this for you and I'm doing this. Tell me if I'm doing anything wrong. I will try to fix it, but I would like you to take care of these things too. So this is very important that there is a mutual understanding. And also this hadith tells us that there are certain a'mal that will help us make our iman stronger. We should always look for those a'mal. Just like when a person is getting weak, they will prescribe some vitamins to the person. You have to take iron, you have to take vitamin C, E, B, whatever that those vitamins are. So when a person is getting weaker in iman, then you need certain type of a'mal. Remember, some a'mal will be related to ibadat, some a'mal will be related to akhlaq. You have to take these pills and you have to work towards these a'mal. Those a'mal, those deeds that will make our iman stronger. We have to work towards those. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq that we correct our behaviors, learn the akhlaq of the nabuwah, and we bring these beautiful teachings in our lives. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those whose akhlaq are on the highest level. And this, because I mentioned one side, let me just quickly touch base on the other side. That other people, that we said, some people will take the ibadat only as deen, and they take akhlaq out of deen. But on the other hand, there are some people who would take akhlaq only as part of the deen. And they will always keep on accusing people for, you know, he prays and still he does this. And he fasts and he did hajj and still he does this. And we then attribute all of his wrongdoings on his ibadah. That's wrong too. We cannot blame the ibadah for anything wrong this person. And then this person himself, he says, you know, I know brother, I'm telling you up front, I don't lie. I don't lie. You know, I don't pray. I don't pray. And I don't have time. You know, most of the time I get lazy to pray and I miss my prayers. But I don't hurt anyone. Subhanallah, you're hurting Rabbul Alameen subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're hurting Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You're hurting your own deen and iman. You're destroying the deen that Allah brought and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam brought to the world. And you're saying you don't hurt no one? You're trying to prove that you're at a higher level of morality by, you know, if I do something wrong to anyone, if even by mistake I push someone, I will say sorry. MashaAllah, you're a great person. Let you apologize. Why don't you apologize to Rabbul Alameen for missing his prayers? Why don't you apologize to Rabbul Alameen for not fulfilling your responsibilities that he have assigned you? Is this his akhlaq? Is this his morality? That you apologize to human beings and you apologize to your creator? Where is your akhlaq now? So we have to balance. We have to understand that there has to be a balance. between ibadah and akhlaq. Combination of both will make us a true believers. When you take either out of these, whichever, you take it out, you take akhlaq out, you take ibadah out, any of these, we take them out, then we have defect in our iman, regardless which of the two you have taken out. So we have to bring both together. Yes, our ibadat have to be there, and then our akhlaq have to be there according to these beautiful teachings. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq. Wa sallallahu ta'ala ala khayri khalqih. Sayyidina wa habibina wa nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Ameen.
مولاي صل وسلم دائما